Detective Rivas gathered his files and gave me a firm, reassuring look. "We'll be in touch, Elena. You deserve justice." With that, he left, and the heavy front door clicked shut behind him. Marina was gone, hauled away to face the consequences of her actions. The house, once filled with tension and whispered secrets, was now eerily silent. My father, Arturo, lay frail in his bed. He reached for my hand, his own fingers trembling like autumn leaves. "Mihajja, my daughter," he began, his voice raspy with unshed tears. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but please." I pulled my hand away, the touch feeling cold and foreign. "Justice first," I said, my voice barely above a whisper but laced with steel. "Forgiveness comes later if ever." Arturo didn't protest. He just cried softly, his shoulders shaking with a grief I couldn't bring myself to share. As I turned to leave the suffocating room, my eyes caught something on the bedside table. It was the old cassette recorder Detective Rivas had used during our conversation. A strange detail pricked at my mind. The little red light was still on. It was still recording. Had he just forgotten to turn it off? I reached over and pressed the stop button. As I did, my fingers brushed against a small yellowed label taped to the underside of the device. It had a number and a date. My brow furrowed in confusion. And then my body went rigid. The date was from 15 years ago. This wasn't Rivas's recorder. This was the original evidence recorder from my mother's case. My blood ran cold. With a shaking hand, I rewound the tape and pressed play. A hiss of static filled the room, and then a voice emerged from the past. My mother's voice. Raw, unedited, and terrified. "Elena, I need to tell you something, please listen. It's about Marina, about the orchard. Your father... he isn't who he says he is. The message cut off abruptly. I gasped, stumbling back. Marina hadn't edited my mother's final message. Someone else had. Someone even closer to me. My heart hammered against my ribs as I played the tape again, slowing it down this time, desperate to catch every nuance. My mother's last words echoed in the silent room. "Your father. He isn't who he says he is." I turned back to the bed where Arturo lay. "Dad," I whispered, holding up the recorder. "Why was this in the house?" He didn't answer. He didn't even look at me. His gaze was fixed on the wall, his eyes hollow and distant. "Elena," he whispered, his voice a ghost. "Leave it." I moved closer, a new chilling suspicion taking root. I looked at him properly for the first time since the detective left. His hands were trembling uncontrollably. His pupils were wide and dilated, his breathing shallow and rapid. My stomach dropped like a stone. He wasn't just dying of old age or a broken heart. He was being poisoned. "Dad, what have you done?" I asked, the words catching in my throat. He finally closed his eyes, a single tear tracing a path through the wrinkles on his face. "I've killed us all," he whispered. A faint, sweet, and cloying smell suddenly hit my nose. A smell I hadn't registered before, but now recognized with sickening clarity. It was the same scent mentioned in my mother's autopsy report all those years ago. "Belladonna." I took a sharp step back. "You poisoned yourself?" He nodded weakly, a pathetic, rasping sound coming from his throat. "To escape prison," he rasped out. "I knew the truth would come out. I helped Marina. Because I couldn't let your mother reveal my secret." His lips trembled. "She found out about the orchard, about the money laundering, about the smuggling." His voice cracked, breaking under the weight of his confession. "She was going to expose me. I told Marina to handle it, but she killed her." Horror washed over me, cold and suffocating. "I silenced the recording," Arturo whispered, his confession a torrent now. "And I framed you? Because you were the only one strong enough to survive without this family." The tears I'd held back for so long finally fell, dripping down my cheeks. All my life, I believed my sister was the monster who destroyed me, but the truth was so much worse. My own father had orchestrated everything. He had been the puppet master pulling the strings of my pain. Arturo groaned, a final rattling breath escaping his lungs. He was fading fast. "Elena?" he breathed, his eyes pleading. "I'm sorry." I stepped further away, my voice hollow and devoid of all warmth. "I hope the poison hurts." He exhaled one last time, and the room fell silent. I stood alone in the house of lies, a tomb of betrayal and ghosts. Then I turned and walked out the door out into the orchard. Into the breaking dawn and into a life finally freed from the monsters who had raised me.